It doesn't matter where you start. Be a door greeter. Hand out communion. Serve in the children's ministry. It doesn't matter. Just engage and watch God begin to guide and direct your life and bring you into the fullness of everything He has for you. The promises of God are so big that there no single generation can accomplish it all. We need multiple generations, and we need to adopt a multi-generation mindset. His promises are so big that no individual could possibly do what God has put over your life. You can't do it on your own. We've got to recognize we're a part of something else. When you step up and engage with the church, you are stepping into an eternal connection from the beginning of time to the end. You're picking up the baton and you're committing to run your leg. I want to keep going in Hebrews. But you know, in the original writing of this, there were no chapter numbers, there were no chapter breaks or verse numbers. And so I'm going to read this the way it was originally written. I'm going to start back where we left off in verse 40, then I'm going to keep going right into chapter 12, verse 1. For God had something better in mind for us, so that we would not reach, or they would not reach perfection without us. Therefore what? Why is the therefore? Because there's so much promise that God has given that has yet to be fulfilled. And because there are those who have run their race and they have finished, but they're not made perfect without us yet. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a huge crowd of witnesses to the life of faith, let us strip off every weight that slows us down, especially the sin that so easily tangles us and trips us up. And let us run with endurance the race God has set before us. We do this by keeping our eyes on Jesus, the originator and perfecter of our faith. See, what the author of Hebrews is saying here, going through this whole hero chapter, is he's saying, look, there is this great cloud of witnesses now, where God has poured out promise over all of their lives, starting from Abel and making it all the way down to even our current generations. You know, my Father is in heaven right now, cheering me on, looking down, saying, I didn't finish my race. There was still promise left over my life. Will you keep running? My granddad is in heaven looking down. Mark's dad is in heaven looking down. All of the greats are in heaven in this great cloud of witnesses looking down saying, come on, church. Come on, friends. We've left some promise. Will you pick up the baton? Will you run your leg? Will you do your part? Will you engage and do your piece? Come on. There's more advancement to come. There's more kingdom to be advanced. There are still lost and hurting that need to know the good news of Jesus. There are still marriages to be saved. There are still those who need to get baptized. There are those who need to be filled with the Spirit. There are business leaders that need to step into what they've called them. Come on. Now's the time. Let's go. There's a race to run. There's a race to run. And God is encouraging us to do our part. And so I want to my whole message is to come down to this one thing, and that is this. Will you be a contributor to the team? Will you be a contributor? See, here's the thing. Competitors get medals. Spectators don't. Competitors get medals. And all you have to do, if you want to be a part of the team, is become a contributor. And what do I mean by becoming a contributor? Just be a part of the family. Embrace the synergy that God has here. Step up and step into that place. And it begins by contributing of our time. So we can give our time to the kingdom of God, and we can give our time to the family of God. So if you haven't gone through the growth track yet, I want to encourage you, go through the growth track. Just spend the time, make the decision today that you're going to go through the growth track and you're going to contribute to what God's doing here. If you're a visitor and you're just looking for a church home, you've been trying to find your church home. Can I tell you, and there's some great churches around, I know that, but I can tell you with some confidence, you're not going to find a better church than Life Fellowship for a 500-mile radius from this place. This is an amazing place. So if you're new, throw in with this family, be a part of what they're doing. If you're already gone through the growth track, but you haven't engaged in serving yet, find your place and just start. Can I tell you, it almost doesn't matter where you start. I would say don't start for the worship team unless you can sing. But other than that, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you start. Be a door greeter. Hand out communion. Serve in the children's ministry. It doesn't matter. Just engage and watch God begin to guide and direct your life and bring you into the fullness of everything He has for you as you get into this internal flow of what God's doing in this place. Contribute your time. Next thing I want to say is contribute your finances. If you're not a giver, be a giver. If you're a giver but not a tither, I encourage you to take the Lord up on His challenge in Malachi chapter 3 and begin to tithe. Bring the first 10%. Join in with this whole thing that Melchizedek and Abraham started started in Genesis chapter 14 and watch God bless you and your family as he blesses this home and he blesses this storehouse. Become a contributor of giving of your finances. And if you're already at that level, become a hilariously generous contributor and continue to see what God's doing. Contribute of your talents. Take the skills that God has given you and begin to engage in advancing the kingdom. I'm just telling you, when we do that, when we engage and we become a part of what God's doing here, it moves you in to this eternal flow of what God is doing. My second point is this: it is together that we are impacting the world, and it is together that we celebrate the victories. You know, I want to close with this. I want to go back to the track analogy. And the thing that I remember about running that mile relay so much is I remember my friends. They'd already finished their leg. They already finished throwing or discus or the hurdles, whatever it was they were doing. And I remember them gathered around the track cheering us on as we're running our lap. And here's the thing that was amazing in that feeling. Though I was in the middle of running my leg, I wasn't just doing it for me. I'm doing it for them. And we're doing this together. And we're going to win this track meet or we're going to lose this track meet together, with all of us in this thing together. We all get the same reward for doing this. So here's the thing. You might be serving in children's ministry, but from God's perspective, you're also a part of every family that gets ministered to through a funeral that takes place at this church. You might be on the communion team, but you also are credited in heaven with every baptism that takes place. You might be a small group leader, but you're also a part of every life that is blessed by our student and our youth teams. You might be on the prayer team, but you're also a part of every salvation that takes place through the missions that happen throughout the world. You might be a part of the tech crew, running sound and lights and videos and cameras, but you're also a part of every church that is impacted as Pastor Mark is leading through TFAC. You get a part of that is credited to your account in heaven. You might be a business leader that is gathering friends in an informal group around your conference table, but you're also a part of the benefit of every counseling session, every marriage that is saved, and every family that is put back together. You're a part of it all. You see, what's going to happen is we're going to get to heaven, and God's going to sit you down, and he's going to say, okay, let's look at your life. Let me see if your life was a success. And what you're going to see is when you're a part of something else, you're a part of the whole. And God's going to show you every soul that gets saved because of Life Fellowship. He's going to show you every marriage that gets put back together. He's going to show you every child that is born because of a family that was saved from divorce. And all of it gets credited to your account. So I want to encourage you, this is an opportunity to be a part of what God is doing. The only way you miss out is by not being a part. The only way you miss is by being a spectator and not engaging in being a contributor. So I want to encourage you, find your place here at Life Fellowship. And they're here to help you fulfill your destiny and your purpose in God. When we say impacting the world together, we are acknowledging that there are generations past that have plowed the ground, planted seeds, and received the harvest. But their work is not finished. There are promises yet to be fulfilled. This is our time. This is our opportunity. And God is calling the people of Life Fellowship to rise up in this season, to partner together, and to lean into the promises yet to come. There is ground to take. There are lost and hurting all around us. Today is our turn. This is our time to take the baton and run. Now is our chance to impact the world together.